If even half of what is currently circulating about the Garmin Fenix 9 Pro turns out to be true, this could end up being the most significant Fenix generation Garmin has ever released. Rather than one or two headline upgrades, the leaks point to a coordinated overhaul touching the display, the chip, the sensors, the lineup structure, and even the physical controls on the case. So instead of just listing specs in random order, this is a countdown of the 10 rumored upgrades that matter most, ranked by how much they could actually change the daily experience of wearing this watch, starting at number 10 and working up to the single leak that could define the entire generation. Coming in at number 10 is something that sounds minor on paper, but actually solves a real problem for a huge chunk of potential buyers: new sizing options. Garmin has historically built the Fenix line around two case sizes, 47mm and 51mm, both of which lean toward larger wrists by default. Leaks now point to a new 43mm option becoming available on select Pro tiers, which means users with smaller wrists would finally get access to the same multi-sport tracking, full offline mapping, and sapphire glass durability that the bigger cases have always offered, just without the bulk. This is not a flashy upgrade, but it is the kind of change that expands who the watch is actually for, and that alone earns it a spot on this list. Number 9 is the titanium and sapphire build. And while this is not technically new since previous Fenix generations already used these materials at the top of the lineup, the rumored refinements make it worth calling out again. Reports suggest the Fenix 9 Pro will keep its titanium case and sapphire crystal glass while getting slimmer bezels and a thinner overall profile than earlier models. That combination matters because it is not just about looking rugged. Titanium offers a serious strength-to-weight advantage over stainless steel, and sapphire glass is dramatically more scratch-resistant than standard mineral glass. Shaving down the case thickness while keeping those premium materials intact should make multi-day wear noticeably more comfortable without sacrificing the durability that has made Fenix watches a trusted choice for search and rescue teams and mountaineers for years. Number 8 brings a genuinely new interaction method into the picture: a rotating crown. Patent filings suggest Garmin has been testing a crown that would work alongside the existing 5-button layout rather than replacing it entirely. This matters more than it might initially sound like, because touchscreens become unreliable fast in the exact conditions Fenix owners actually operate in. Think heavy rain, freezing temperatures, or thick gloves that make precise taps nearly impossible. A tactile rotating crown gives users a physical way to scroll through menus and data screens without needing bare, dry fingers on a touch layer. And pairing it with the familiar buttons instead of replacing them means long-time users would not have to relearn muscle memory build-up over years of ownership. Number 7 is doubled storage capacity, with leaks pointing to up to 64 gigabytes on premium tiers. That is double what current top-end Fenix models typically offer, and it is a bigger deal than it sounds. 64 gigabytes is enough room to store full offline topographic maps for multiple regions at once, detailed satellite imagery, a substantial music library for long training sessions, and years of accumulated workout history, all without ever needing to delete old data or manage storage mid-trip. For anyone who travels to multiple mountain ranges or trail systems throughout the year, never having to choose which region's maps to keep loaded is a genuinely practical upgrade. Number 6 is the rumored 64-bit chip architecture powering the whole system. This is the kind of upgrade that does not show up in a single flashy feature demo, but instead shows up in dozens of small daily interactions feeling noticeably faster. Map rendering should load quicker. Route recalculation when you go off-trail should happen with less lag. And general navigation through menus and data screens should feel snappier compared to older Fenix models that could occasionally stutter under the weight of complex offline map data. A faster chip is also the foundation that makes several of the other rumored features on this list actually possible, since running on-device AI analysis and rendering higher resolution map data both require real processing headroom. Number 5 is improved multi-band GNSS accuracy, and this is where Garmin's outdoor-first identity really shows up. GPS accuracy has traditionally struggled in 3 specific environments: dense forest canopy that blocks satellite signals from reaching the antenna cleanly, steep canyon walls that create signal bounce and reflection errors, and crowded urban areas full of tall buildings that block direct line of sight to satellites overhead. Leaks suggest the Fenix 9 Pro is getting meaningful improvements to multi-band GNSS tracking, specifically targeting these scenarios. For trail runners who train under heavy tree cover, canyoneers navigating narrow rock corridors, or anyone who splits their training between city streets and remote trails, more reliable positioning in exactly these conditions could make route tracking and navigation data significantly more trustworthy than it has been on previous generations. Number 4 is wrist-based muscle oxygen tracking, a metric that has historically required separate specialized equipment rather than a standard wrist-worn device. Muscle oxygen saturation data gives athletes insight into how efficiently their muscles are using oxygen during effort, which can be a genuinely useful signal for endurance training, altitude acclimatization, and understanding fatigue patterns during long efforts. Bringing this capability directly into the watch, alongside the rumored next-generation Elevate optical heart rate sensor with more receiver channels and repositioned LEDs to reduce motion-related errors, would put genuinely advanced sports science tools directly on the wrist of everyday athletes rather than keeping that kind of data locked behind expensive lab equipment or separate sensor straps. Number 3 is on-device AI coaching. And this is where the Fenix 9 Pro rumors start to feel less like an incremental spec bump and more like a shift in what the watch actually does for you.